Oh, yeah, that means Midway Radio is back. It's your boy, Carlos Gomez, and we're going to jump right in because we got a young man who's got things moving, shaking. He's got things to do. You see how I set myself up for Instrumental Drew? Oh, he's got the Instrumental Drew.
Yo, yo.
Our studio audience approves.
You see, so I surprised myself with them bars, and so I forgot to play the audience to get the audience involved. So my apologies, bars. Welcome, Drew.
Right. Peace. Appreciate the opportunity to build tonight.
What up? Yeah, buddy. Let's go ahead and get everybody else to jump in. We got DJ Sean Doe.
Yo, what up, everybody?
We got, oh, you know what? I was going to say this. Hey, Midway Radio. It's like, oh, hang on. Damn it. Anyway, we got DJ Risky Business.
You're the worst. You're the worst.
Hey, we got Ryan Brockmeyer.
What's up, everybody?
No, what I was going to... You know how I like to do, I like to say things like, hey, Midway Radio, it's like The Walking Dead, but instead of zombies, we got DJs, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I started coming up with a bunch of these, and I left my list downstairs, so. Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Hey, Midway Radio, it's like trick-or-treating, but instead of candy, we got DJs.
It's even getting worse.
Anyway,
let's talk about someone with some class. Drew, brother, help
Peace.
Help me save the show.
Oh, let's go.
you think
What's going on, man?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna just jump right into this.
Yeah, let's jump right into this. So,
I'm gonna ask him what made him get into as an artist and a designer. What made you go the clothing route?
Can I ask a question though before that would precede that, which is when did you know that were you like the rest of us, like Carlos and I and Doe, like we went to art school and all that kind of stuff, so we were like drawing and doing all that kind of stuff from a kid. So is that kind of what you grew up on?
No, well, I mean, I grew up on hip hop, and it was pretty much engaged with all of the elements. I didn't go to any art schools, any schools that were catered towards creative arts. So I mean, I grew up around it, but I didn't go to any educational institutions tailored around that. So I grew up, doing it from a grassroots standpoint and embraced it from there. So
for sure. I mean, just like even on your own, just like sketching as a kid and drawing all that kind of stuff. Like art probably came to you pretty early on.
Trying to, running through my mother's old vinyl and trying to draw that on sketch pads. Watching, my cousin's Beat Street on VHS and being inspired by that, trying to recreate that or tag via whatever I could write on, whatever I could draw on books and so forth and that. So it wasn't any type of formal education that I had to enhance that or it was just kind of stimulated through hip hop, and I embraced it as such via that way.
Cool.
At what point did you think to yourself, I can make money doing this?
So real talk, it was I've never been inspired by the money. It was just, I've always loved creating and expressing myself in a different way. And it's kind of like I'm pretty sure since you guys are hip hop heads, there was a group called The Nonce
Oh yes.
Out of Cali, and they had a song called Mixtape. It's actually one of my like top 30 songs of all time.
Great record.
But you know, I used to sell mixtapes, but now I'm an MC. But one of the lines was money never really was a part of the rap. Paid was having people start to clap. And so I've always been inspired by the peoples in a sense. It was never by economic gain. Now that's cool and you need that to sustain. But when I started the brand, it was just because I wanted to create. So all these ideas that I had when I was a shorty, or concepts that I had in high school or college, I'm like, yo, let me put this out. That's kind of point number one. And point number two, I saw a lot of people or you know, people who own clothing brands or are part of clothing brands kind of perpetrating the culture. So you had individuals that really didn't embrace hip hop, but were making money off of it. And that's whether you know, because I grew up with like kind of two elements, hip hop and then like the revolutionary rebellious elements of it. You know, my father was a bodyguard for Maulana Karenga, who was the founder of Kwanzaa. He founded Kwanzaa in 1966. Family had affiliation with the you know, my uncles and great uncles had affiliation with the Black Panthers. My father was born and raised in Compton, California. My mother, the Inglewood, part of the South Side of Chicago. So it was like hip hop and then a mix of like the African American or the Black Revolution. And I, you know, I kind of embrace both, and so that's what the clothing line represents. So, but I guess we should just focus on the hip hop aspect. But again, money never really was a part of the scheme, or wasn't the motivation. It was just I wanted to create and I wanted to do something different. And I know because I came from hip hop and the elements thereof, because I came from like the revolutionary elements, I could kind of put those messages or designs on material cloth in the form of shirts and keep it real in a sense that way. So well, I just got tired of people saying perpetrating the culture.
I will say to you that knowledge, right, is part of the culture, right? We sometimes we'll talk about knowledge being another element to hip hop, right? So,
well,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you know, with the hip hop culture in particular, it's always been a big part of it to have lyrics that educate, and I feel that your clothing line is so hip hop because not only do you represent the culture as far as you know, the hip hop side of things that you'll put, like, you know, if you obviously you can go right on your site and you'll see references to Souls of Mischief and Tribe and the MCs that passed, and of course Bishop, which is a fucking awesome. That whole run is cool. But you have the other things involved there with the more political side. But again, it's part of the knowledge. It's part of hip hop. It's adding to it. So I think that's dope. And hats off to you on that.
What Chicago, like, if there were any Chicago brands that did any of the Chicago brands that was out before, did any of those like mold what Instrumental is today?
Not really. I mean, when I came out, so Dave Jeff, who owns Fly.
Yes.
He had a store called Halftime, which is on 79th. Well, he worked at a store with a guy by the name of P called Halftime on 79th and Western. And I was inspired by brands such as him, and this is not a knock on Dave Jeff, that's my longtime homie, not from a standpoint of what he created, but from a standpoint of, okay, here's a young African-American who started a brand. So I was inspired more so from a business standpoint as opposed to a design standpoint. I'll be honest, like when I saw back then, Dave had a screen printed like a Biggie joint, because you know he's still heavy into the sneaker culture, and he had a joint called like Shoe Porn. But actually, so I'm cool with Just Blaze, and so I would sell sneakers to like Just Blaze, Clue, Skane Dollar, you know, up in Baseline, Saigon, and others. But I remember the night before I was supposed to take a trip, I actually bought one of Dave Jeff's shirts, and gave it to Just, and he later wore it on I can't remember the name of that Rockefeller documentary, but like kind of that entire weekend is when I had the thought to start a clothing line, but it was that weekend where I was like, yo, hey, somebody like Dave can do it. I can start a clothing line myself. So then I met Corey Gilkey from Leaders, you know, who used to be with Crew, VDOT with Success. So like my very first shirt was a tribute to all three of those stores. The shirt was called We Need Fly Self-Conscious Leaders. And the fly, the self-conscious, and the leaders were in the fly font, the self-conscious font, and the leaders font. So again, I wasn't necessarily inspired from a design standpoint, and that's not to marginalize you know, say that their designs were shit or anything like that. But it was more so from a business aspect that I drew inspiration from them. And oftentimes when I see them, I thank them because had it not been seeing that young African-Americans starting a clothing line, I probably wouldn't have had a clothing line. So I definitely have to salute the OGs for that.
You were inspired by ambitious young men who came from the hip hop culture. That's dope.
So I'm heavily into, or I could say I'm heavily into fashion, and I love when Chicago cats make really good stuff, and like I haven't been proud of a brand as yours since Brian and Mustafa Afrowear. So
I knew you were gonna say that. I know you're gonna reference that.
So when Afrowear came out, it was ours. You know what I mean? Like luckily I was real cool with like Mustafa. Like Mustafa had a lot to do with the way I DJ. And Brian is crazy on the design side as far as having an eye for design, you know what I mean? So when that came out, I was really proud of that. And then when I first caught a whiff of I saw the first shirt that you did, but the one that caught on was the one with the Audacity joint with Obama on it. And I remember Cap D from All Natural wearing it. And I was like, yo, that's fresh.
I remember that.
From? And he was like, yo, it's this kid Instrumental. And that's how I caught up with you. So how did that come up? Because I know you took a picture with Obama and that kind of got some flight. How did that happen?
Right. So we were, and I'll say this within a humble disposition or configuration. So when I say we, because I had a business partner at the time named Chris. I started the brand in 2007, but I've been doing it solo since 2009. Actually, right when the Chicago HUT came out in December 2009, J Electronica made Exhibit C and hasn't done anything since. But the Obama tee, I was playing around one day doing some art with the Obama and the 08. And I started thinking like, no one has really done. Now this was early 07. So I hadn't seen any t-shirt companies do an ode to Obama. This one he was still Senator Obama. Before the hype. And I like hopping on things before the hype. So I'm like, okay, Obama, South Side, Chicago. I was staying in actually the same condominium complex that him and Michelle stayed in prior to them moving on 51st. So I'm like, yo, this is perfect. And so playing around with the design, then did I linked with a guy by the name of Ed Steckley, who used to do caricature work with the New York Times. So he actually did the Obama design with the Instrumental logo showing. I did the shirt with the Obama in the 08 on the back of the joint. And it was called The Audacity of Dopeness, kind of in relation to the book. He did a book called The Audacity of Hope. So I did a shirt called The Audacity of Dopeness, Ness in parentheses. And so did the shirt. And actually before it came out, so at the time we were trying to vie for, or we pitched to the Obama headquarters on North Michigan to actually have the shirt as the official campaign shirt of the Obama campaign. So we had a couple of meetings with them and all. And again, I'm using we. It's just me now, but we at the time because it was me and Chris. Anyway, we came in third. The guy who won, it was some simple shit, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That was an experience that went within itself. So we did the shirt. It was in the Sun Times. And so in 2007, actually, Sharif Williams, I'm pretty sure some of you might be familiar with Sharif Williams, a long time hip hop head that's been around for a while. He actually snuck me into a $100 campaign right. I'm in the West Loop now, right down the street at Union Station. So I snuck in. I had on, some slacks. I threw the shirt over a button down and kind of pushed my way towards Obama. And he saw the shirt. He was like, I just saw this in the Sun Times. And so I kind of gave my story real quick because, again, it wasn't crazy at that time, but he had bodyguards. And so I kind of gave my rundown. Yo, this is in dedication to you. You from Hyde Park. I stay in Hyde Park, same complex. Do you approve? And he was like, you got my approval. And so I took a picture with him and, they kind of, circulated via social media. So that was good. I then went over and Michelle Obama was standing there practically by herself. It was 3 people around Michelle Obama. Nobody was checking on her. She, so I went up. Hey, I know the family history, your daughters. I gave her kind of the same script. She saw the shirt, her eyes lit up. She was like, oh, wow, thank you, so forth and so on. And so from there, that kind of generated, it was kind of great marketing within itself because I had just released the tee like maybe 2 or 3 months before then. So later on, did a collaboration with the company that's Sir Madame now, but at the time it was called Soulmate Chicago. We did an event. All right, Chad, got to bounce. But we did an event the night after November 5th of 2008. And we did the shirt with both Michelle and Barack doing the fist bump. So that's kind of like a brief history of the shirt. But again, if we weren't the first clothing company, not only in Chicago, but nationwide, if we weren't the first company to do the Obama shirt, I'd like to see the company that did one before us. Because after that, kind of like right towards he was getting elected, everybody had an Obama shirt. Every single company did something with Obama. So,
yeah, I remember that. The shirt was bananas. Let's talk about your history with other stuff that's Chicago, like the hat that you're wearing right now. The hat is bananas, and I do not have one. But let's talk about that hat, brother.
What this
it's such an ill hat. What made you do that?
So my mother was involved with the Harold Washington campaign back in '83. And she grew up in Inglewood. That's where we were born. I'm saying we because I have a twin sister. So this is her hat that the campaign committee had. So this I got this from her. Actually, it was actually on display at the DuSable Museum of African American History. They have a exhibit on Harold Washington that they've actually had for like way too long. But this was on display at DuSable. I then got it back after a while. And 3 years ago, I did this design on a shirt. And recently, I decided to do this design on the hat. And what you can see from our brand, again, is hip hop inspired, but it also pays tributes to those individuals, who are kind of pioneers or freedom fighters within the African American community. So obviously, you have the Malcolm X's of the world, the Martin Luther Kings of the world, the Rosa Parks, the Medgar Evers, the Frederick Douglass. I can go Fannie Lou Hamers. I can go down the line. But also you have Harold. So like Barack got a lot of love, rightfully so, both from a city standpoint and national standpoint. But what Harold had to go through to be mayor back in 1983, that's a story that has to be told. So again, with the clothing, whether that's hip hop or the more rebellious elements, I try to tell a story through the shirt. Like each person has their own story, but I want people, like when they put on a piece, whether that's an Obama joint or like the Harold joint, or whether that's a rap minus logical hip hop, or always remembering, you know, trying to make the complex simple. I want them to kind of tell a story with the shirt. If it can generate a conversation, education, elevation from there. So that's where it, in a sense, the hero piece came from.
That's dope.
So I got you. Yeah, I'll send one your way, man. You know,
Harold is so Chicago. Like,
he does it. And the shorties, I don't think the shorties, if they know who he is, they don't know who he is. Like, they might have heard the name, but they don't know the story.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and that's something we're definitely going to touch upon in Midway for sure, because one of the things that we're trying to do is to kind of parallel what was going on at the time socially with what was going on with hip hop at the time. So, so that's definitely going to be at the very least it's going to be touched upon in the film. So hopefully continue to educate.
So you did a Lupe Fiasco Foundation tee?
Right.
How did that come about?
Man, I met Lupe in 2005 via Needles. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the producer Needles. I went to Florida. I went to Florida A&M. Needles went to Florida State and then transferred to Florida A&M. Needles did like he did beats for like Young Buck. He's still a producer. I think he just did a joint for Cardi B. But Needles was like, yo, I need you to get a beat to Lupe. The beat was for a joint called Pen and the Needles, which is like on a well, you guys are hip hop. I forget who I'm talking to. But when Lupe did like the Fahrenheit 115, first 15 mixtapes. So Needles sent the beat over. I actually dropped it off to Lupe. Lupe actually did a track over. He actually shouted me on the song at the end of the joint, Pen and Needles. Still one of my favorite joints to this day. So from there, we just developed a friendship. Actually ended up doing I did the logo for First and 15th. And I mean, if we got time, we can go into my connection to the college dropout Yogo and Yay and things of that nature. Oh, yeah. But from there, right around that time, like I was the first person that heard Kick Push. So yeah, so this was 2005, and you know, obviously Food and Liquor in 2007. And I'm not trying to be too long-winded with the story, but anyway, we had a conversation. Actually, the day he let me hear Kick Push, I'm like, yo, I'm getting ready to start this brand, and we was like, yo, we're gonna support each other. But yo, let's do a collab. So the first collab that we did was a tribute to Food and Liquor. I actually just sold the last remaining shirt that I had about 2 weeks ago from Front of Vault's collection. So that was 2007. That was the first official collab. The second collab was for Dumb It Down, which is off the Cool album. That was late 2008, early 2009. And the third collab, well, not necessarily a collab, but I did a specific design for the Lupe Fiasco Foundation. And that was pretty much via his sister, Aisha Jaco, who's on his first 2 or 3 albums. She spit poetry on the joint. So that was through her because she's over the Lupe Fiasco Foundation, which is now titled Mural. Yeah. M.U.R.A.L. So
shout out to Aisha too.
That's kind of a quick story of how those shirts came about.
Yeah. Shout out to Aisha.
I actually re-released the Dumb It Down. I did a 10-year anniversary to re-release of Dumb It Down with the Front of Vault's collection. Okay. So that's available online right now.
So go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was just gonna say shout out to Aisha too. She's been a real big supporter and stuff of Midway and everything that we've been doing thus far. And
no, super cool people. The whole family here.
Yeah, but can you tell us the story about how you were talking to Lupe about your Obama T-shirt, and then he said what?
Oh, it's crazy. I just pulled up that picture the other day. So what year did Kanye's Wait Till I Get My Money? What year did that drop? That was was that 2007?
Was that Graduation? From Graduation?
Yeah,
that's 2007.
Okay, so Lupe hit me about 10 p.m. This when I was staying in Hyde Park. He was at a studio on the West Loop, and I got a fresh batch of the Obama joints, and like it might have been the second re-up of the Obama teas, and I had just did the 1st and 15th collaboration tea, the food and liquor tea.
Nice.
So I bought his size to the studio. So when I brought it to the studio, I'm like, yo, this the food and liquor tea. He was like, all right, this is crazy. Yada, yada, yada. What bam. So I poured out the Obama tea, and his exact words is like, I don't fuck with Obama. And I was with my homie Raphael Nash, and I'm like, yo, what? Because I mean, you don't, I'm just assuming that, you know, for a variety of reasons that, well, as I've got to know him, I wouldn't assume anything now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a knock on it. That's one of the most intelligent people, rappers or non-rap artists who I've ever met in my life, man. Real good homie.
Right.
He's like, I don't really mess with Obama. And we kind of started going into political talk. So he actually refused the shirt. So in the picture, I got the shirt, you know, kind of over my shoulder. He has a shirt over his shoulder, but he actually gave me both of the shirts that I bought. He gave them back. So he just took the 1st and 15th food and liquor collaboration joints, and I went home with the Obama joints. He was like, no, I'm messing with Hillary.
Oh, wow.
So that's how that story went. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, and it's crazy because I just had this conversation with someone the other day. I'm like, Lupe, particularly from a hip hop political standpoint, could have had the impact that Chance had actually before Chance. He could have, you know, because Obama campaign, and I know this not only from speaking with Lupe, but talking to people with the Obama campaign, they really wanted to work with Lupe. Because again, this was 07. This was right when the hype was building. Yep. You know, it was a good chance that Obama was going to be elected, and he denied it. And you guys kind of know the history. Like, you know, he got pulled off the stage in DC. Then he, you know, did the join American terrorists and called the president of terrorists, corporate sponsors, like, how you going to embarrass us? You know, that whole line. So that history is well recorded and whatnot. And still to this day, he gets some backlash off of that. But yeah, you know, on the other hand, somebody like a Chance the Rapper has embraced Obama, and not to say he's needed that for his elevation. I'm cool with Chance as well. However, it has helped to, you know, align himself with those associated political forces.
Sure.
So this might not be like I guess the only ties from Chicago is your genius with this tea, but the rap minus lies equal hip hop. That tea blew up. I think I seen it on, I think the first time I seen it really out was Little Brother. I had, so I used to do promo for their label. So I would see stuff like first. And when I saw that they had that on, I was like, yo, this is super dope. Talk about how that came about.
All right. So the Rap Minus Live Speaker Hip Hop was my very first design. That's actually a design I had in college or concept, not the design, but the concept came through college. But at the time, I was broke, so I didn't necessarily have any money. And after college, I was still broke. When I started the brand, I was broke. I mean, a lot of people think you need a lot of money to start the brand, but that's not necessarily the case. I started the brand with essentially $1,200. But that was the first design. And the crazy thing, I was going to put that on the back of a shirt. And Corey Gilkey from Leaders, he was like, nah, put that on the front. And so I still think of to this day, like, that was one of the best moves I made of all time. So the Rap Minus Live Speaker Hip Hop was the first tee. I actually printed a sample of it, which I found in Puerto Rico. I was on vacation with my ex, and I printed a sample of that joint. And then a year later, that was 2006, and then a year later is when I put it into production. So shortly after that, I ran into to one of my homegirls, Fonte. I did the Always Remembering shirt, and I gave the Rap Minus Lives and the Always Remembering shirt, which lists going down vertically to, you know, deceased rappers at that particular time. They had a show on the South Side. So I met Fonte. We developed a friendship. And I'm like, yo, let's do a collab with the Rap Models Lives with Hip Hop. So I switched up the back, printed the shirt, actually did a photo shoot with my peoples from Sir Madame, Autumn, and Brian at the same time that I did the women's version. And so at the time they were getting ready to do a tour. So I printed some up for the tour. And I'll never forget, I was at a show at the Abbey Pub, and that's where you might have seen it. But they had a show at the Abbey Pub, and I remember I was in the balcony, and I'm like, "Yo, okay, you know, they selling the shirts, but I at least want one of them to wear it." Yo, they came out. They had a joint. They had a joint called Good Clothes, because now I got on my good clothes. The DJ had the joint on. Fonte, and Big Pooh had the shirt on. Yo, I lost my mind. I lost my absolute mind. So that's when they, you know, they kind of introduced, or, you know, first rocked out to the Rap Models Lives Little Brother joint. The Downside, shortly, kind of not right after, but shortly after, they kind of disbanded as a group. And I know they recently linked up like about a week or two ago. And so the shirt didn't, you know, because they took it on the tour, and it generated a lot of customers for myself, or, you know, for the brand at the time. But again, it didn't have that much traction, or for lack of better phraseology, the legs kind of were cut short by them separating as a group and kind of doing their own solo thing. But no, that was one of my favorite collabs. The good news is one of my homies dates Bobby McFerrin's daughter. Her name is Madison McFerrin, dope singer. She was in the studio with Fonte, and my homie who actually had the shirt 10 years ago, and he chopped it up with Fonte. So he just sent me a text 4 days ago, like, yo, Fonte want to talk to you. So I'm gonna give him a call in the next few days and say, yo, let's do like a 10th anniversary of the joint. I'm not sure if you guys are getting back together, but just from a hip hop standpoint, you know, for the lovers of both brands, Instrumental, Little Brother, you know, let's put out a 10th anniversary of the joint. So I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that.
That'll be super sick. Big ups to my homie DJ Flash. He's a really good brother, and I remember I was at that show, and I remember them having it on.
It was 10 years ago, man.
Also, so here's another Chicago tie, which is going to lead into our show for next week. Do you know Rashid Hadi?
I've met him, but not. I can't say that I know him. I know of him, right?
So you know that song "Dreams" that Little Brother did.
Yeah,
that he produced that, and he's going to be on our show next week. So.
When you talk to him, man, tell him that's one of my favorite little dude. The intro to that joint is crazy, man.
Yeah. Whenever they pull that song out, I'm like, I feel so good because it's produced by somebody from Chicago, but I also feel good because it's such a grand song. Like sometimes they start off the show with that, and it's just an amazing show afterwards.
That's from the Get Back album, I think.
No, right? they really need to get that together. But that was around the same time. We did a shirt. It's actually when I met Fake Short Drive called Nouveau Go. And it was kind of like when people were really starting to do them ampersand tees.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and we did a song. We did a shirt. Probably generated the most controversy out of any shirt I've ever done besides the Fred Hampton joint. But it was Timbuktu and Mano and Hollywood Hope. And, you know, it actually generated the most comments in Fake Short Drive history from the artists that felt like they should have been on the shirt. But that was kind of right around that same time. It was called Nouveau Go. We actually did the photo shoot at Timbuktu spot back then. And I wish somebody was taping the conversation that we had. It was me, Hope, Mano, Timbuktu, Mike Terra, Vic. Yeah, that was a wonderful day, man. I wish we had that on tape, but that was kind of around that same time as the Nouveau Go shirt, or as the Rap Models Lives Instrumental Little Brother collaboration.
Yo, big ups, Hollywood Holt. He was just in the hospital for some
I saw that, man.
Nerve stuff. So I just want to send my, my peace and blessings out to him. Hopefully he's super strong and comes out cool, because I understand about nerves and stuff like that. So
for sure,
we're just wishing him good health and speedy recovery, so he can.
No, a long time, homie, man. Real good.
Yeah.
I mean, from a musical standpoint, supreme, but he has a supreme spirit as well, man. So definitely blessings to
and hilarious.
To him, his wife, and his family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So we'll get to this. You've done numerous collaborations with the artist Hebrew Brantley. How did that come about? And is there any more stuff coming up? Because I know you did the whole. So the first time that I think the first thing that I bought from that collaboration is the Revenge of Emmett Till. I know you got a lot of stuff surrounded around that, so if you could talk about that, that'd be great. That'd be dope.
Good. I wanted to get to that.
Yeah, that's the connection with Hebrew is almost an interview in itself, but I'll try to make it real quick.
Word. Well, we still got to interview you, so this is just Midway Radio. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we definitely got to get down with that. So, man, 18 for Halstead, me, Brew, Zoe from Fashion Geek, Vic Lloyd. We were hooping right in Pilsen. I went up for a layup. Somebody hit me in my eye, man. Remember on Biggie's story to tell me, he was like, I don't know, one of them 6'8". So no, dude, and it ended up being Hebrew. Hit me, knocked my contact out, gave me a black eye. So we were getting ready to scuffle. Make a long story short, a week later, I walk into the Leaders. When Leaders is in Wicker Park,
yeah.
He did the wall. He actually did it for free. You'd probably get mad I said that, but he did the wall for free. And
I remember
I'm like, yo, who did this? They was like a homie named Hebrew. I'm like, Hebrew, that's his real name? It's like, yeah, that's his real name. I mean, that's not actually his real name, but I was like, yo, Hebrew. So I'm like, yo, I need his contact. I called him that next day, and the building process started from there. So we did the first two collabs we did was a series called The Assassination of Assassination, which is supposed to be a 4-part series. The first being Martin Luther King, showing what we imagine to be if King was living, and the people who were getting shot back, if you will. And then the second was, so it's 3 in Memphis, Tennessee, April 4th of 1968. The second collaboration was JFK, and 3 minutes before that assassination in Dallas, Texas. And so I actually have those original drawings as art pieces and the shirts as well. So that was the first 2 collaborations back in 2010. The third collaboration was supposed to be Emmett Till, and the fourth was supposed to be Malcolm X. But when it came time to the fourth, he took off. So it's that's the homie. But I call him Hollywood Hebrew now. So it's kind of hard to get things done with as much ease as back in the day. So and right around this time, I start collecting his art as well. But that's a whole nother conversation. But as it relates to instrumental, so we did those 2 collaborations. With the Revenge of Emmett Till, that was 2011 or 12. But back in 2013, I actually met Emmett Till's cousin. 2 of Wheeler Parker, who was in a room with them on August 28th, 1955, when he was kidnapped and subsequently murdered, and also Simeon Wright. So Wheeler Parker was a pastor. Simeon Wright was his cousin. I did a 3-hour interview with him. So I'm telling Hebrew, I'm like, yo, we're going to do a time lapse of you actually painting because the Revenge. So Hebrew, he does paintings of the joint, before we actually, put them onto the shirt. So he did or a pencil sketch or a painting. So with the Revenge of Emmett Till, he did the painting, but I'm like, yo, can you do a larger painting? We'll do a time lapse. And as the time lapse is going, time lapse is going, we'll have footage of me interviewing Simeon Wright, giving a firsthand account of the story of Emmett Till. Wow. All from when he came down to visit his cousins, to the days leading up to them going to the store, to the scene, to what happened with Carolyn Bryant, them fleeing the scene, to 3 days later, Carolyn Bryant, Roy Bryant, and J.W. Miley coming back, the house scene, kidnapping them, taking them, they subsequently finding him in the Tallahatchie River, the trial, them then having to get out of Dodge, and then what's this concept of revenge? Revenge, not from a literal standpoint, but the gun representing the consistent, invisible fight for injustice, which then turned into a movie that released in 2015 called The Revenge of Emmett Till, which is a 34-minute short film. So, but again, we collabed on. We did a shirt called Four Wing. A lot of people don't know he did the drawing of D Rose, based on the Harold's Chicken logo design. After D Rose won the MVP that year, I can't remember what year that was. But Hebrew was the one who did the drawing for that. So we did that. And actually I did that with a guy by the name of Derek Rue from Sneaker Fiend Tees. I remember he was like, yo, why do we have Hebrew's name on the back of the shirt? And I'm like, yo, he did the design. And I know he's kicking himself for that, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, I'm like, so we did a joint called Shut Up and Create. We did that collaboration. I did for the pop-up in 2013 that he had with Lollapalooza. I did a lot of designs for that. So I've done a plethora of design. The Mike series. You guys familiar with the Mike series? With the where he has the goggles over Tyson, Jordan,
and
yeah, that was my concept. I gave that concept to leaders. And I went up, I'm like, yo, Vic, Ty, Corey, what's up? And they were a bit melancholy. So I took it, and I never forget, I went to see Hebrew that same night. We were chopping it up. I told him about the concept. He was like, no, fuck them. I'm gonna do something with this. And that's essentially how the Mike series came about.
Nice.
And I mean, I don't say that to marginalize them from a design aspect. It's a family over there with Hebrew brand. But it's so much stuff I've done, from the NBA Live inspired joint, the Krylon joint, Shut Up and Create. I'm trying to think. It's a joint called Protection. So it's a lot that I've done. As far as upcoming collaborations, I have a shirt called Things to I actually have on the hoodie. I did a shirt called Things to Make You Smile with Numbers to Dial. And
I saw those.
The kids version this shirt is called Mad Question Accent. But I'm like, yo, let me do a kids joint called Mad Question Accent. One of the homies that I went to college with, Florida A&M's name, his name is Ivan Revere. He has a brand called We're Little Giants. And so we did as opposed to me doing a shirt, because if you try to do kids shirt as an adult brand, you won't be that successful in selling tees, even if you're somebody like a Supreme or something like that. Mm-hmm. But if you're a kids brand and you just do kids apparel, you'll have a lot more success. So I'm like, yo, let's do the collab from them. And so kind of pushing forth to the present, We Are Little Giants and Hebrew brand are doing a collab. Actually, we live too. A lot of people don't know that. So this is the first time that we're hearing this. But they're getting ready to do a collab. I probably shouldn't even say that. Oh, well.
All right.
But that's, that'll be coming out. So I hope nobody's listening that knows that'll put that word out. But anyway, they're doing something later on this year.
Only 5.
Now, what I won't say, me and Hebrew have been working on a collab. That'll be 2019. I definitely am not at liberty to say what that, nor do I want to kind of put that out there. But I'm really looking forward to that collab and looking forward to it for a long time. So those are the next 2 things that are dropping. I mean, we might do something like with the Shut Up and Create, but we'll see. So, but I mean, I'm a part of the family, so we go back and forth on designs all the time. So it's,
Talk to us about your like your not just like the people that you look up to, but how do you find inspiration, and how do you know that this t-shirt is gonna be a good one?
I don't know, actually. I try not to. I try not to design based on what I think people would buy, and that might seem a little bit silly, but again, it's like a line Common had. I can't remember what song it was, but he was like, "Not for the money." I could have sampled Diana Ross a long time ago, and so me, when I'm thinking of concepts, I try to think of what I like. Now, obviously, you want to be able to sell the tee so that you can re-up on this season, re-up on that season, so forth and so on. But I always try to look when I'm thinking of concepts or ideas and what to put onto a shirt. I try to go off what I like, and because it's coming from me, I know it'll work within the Instrumental brand. The Instrumental brand is, in a sense, a reflection of me. So I'm not, so I'll see some companies, they'll put Malcolm on a tee and they know nothing about Malcolm X. Or they'll put MLK, or they'll put let's say Nas on the shirt. And I'm not trying to throw shots at any brands, but I mean, there's so many examples. I'll see them. I mean, I've seen it's Fela Kuti's 80th birthday today. What would have been his 80th birthday today? I seen that brands were putting Fela on the shirts. I'm like, yo, you don't even know about Fela. This is not what you live. This is not what you embrace. You're putting something on a tee, and a lot of brands do this. They'll put something on a tee just to sell it.
Right.
And I mean, I can't roll like that. So to answer your question, I guess I'm not answering the question, but I don't say, okay, I'm going to put this on because I know I can sell. So when I did the tribute to Fife, I in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I think I got one here. But again, the inspiration was the design, not what do I think I can sell.
Right. And then so when that idea hits you, do you carry around like a sketchbook with you? Do you have like an iPad that you write down all your stuff?
Yeah, I do. I got the old school this right here. So I got
that's called
old school
iPad
with the composition you did. So I carry that around. A lot of times if I'm out, I'll put a note in my phone. And so when I come back, say like that evening or night, I can revisit that, that concept or whatnot. But a lot of the concepts just come from conversation. I did a joint called Giants Built the Pyramids. Giants Built the Pyramids came from a conversation of, yo, who do we think built the pyramids? It's like, yo, it had to be maybe a giant and so that's how that concept came. The Always Remembering tee came from the 1997 freestyle with KRS-One in Common when I can't remember what Hot 97 when KRS-One is like, it goes Scott LaRock, In Trouble T. Roy, Biggie, Mastodon, Cowboy, Wizkid, Bumpkin, Buffy, Eazy-E, Sugar Shaft, Prince Messiah. So I was like, yo, this is crazy. Actually, I think the name of the song is called a freestyle song. It's on one of KRS joints. So off that, I heard that later on, and that's how the Always Remembering shirt came about. Other shirts, the Chicago Police Department killed Fred Hampton, or the Revenge of Emmett Till shirt. That's just from being a fan of history. So I'll never sit down and say, okay, I need to think of a shirt concept. It always comes from life experiences, either in the present or the past. So it's a combination of things.
Do you try to see? Oh, go ahead, Carlos.
I was just going to ask real quick. A lot of your stuff is very politically motivated, which is fantastic. Do you ever? How can I ask this? Do you ever get any slack for being so political, or like do white folks generally just walk around super nervous around you?
Yeah. So now I've received I've never put like the hate mail that I've received online.
Wow.
I've thought about it a couple times, but like with the Revenge Emmett Till, you know, you get the, you know, I don't use the N word, but you get the fuck you, you know, or you're a racist. And I'm like, because I put the Revenge of Matilda,
Right.
or the assassination of assassination, or the Fred Hampton T. But taking it one by one, so I've received hate mail out the Revenge of Emmett Till. With the Fred Hampton shirt, I actually received some flack from the Chicago Police Department. Now with that, so the Fred Hampton joint, it's now Fred Hampton was assassinated, but on the shirt it says the Chicago Police Department killed Fred Hampton, and so I received some flag from that. The crazy thing, the first two people to buy that shirt were police officers. I gave that shirt. Leaders ordered the shirt, and two police officers came in. They were the first two people to buy that shirt. But I received some flag from that. But it's like, yo, no, the Chicago Police Department in connection, along with the FBI and Hoover, they took out Fred Hampton. I mean, that's just a fact.
Yep.
So you can get mad at the facts, but you can't debate the facts. I did a shirt called "Run Jesse Run," which I got a call from the NAACP. What'd you say?
I wanted to talk about that one too.
Yeah, I got a call from. So that whole story is the stories to each T are essentially on my site. Because again, I'm not somebody that just makes a T to make it. I can talk for days about the story of Emmett Till. I could talk for days about the story of MLK. I could talk for days of the story about Rosa Parks. It's not like this is something I live, or hip hop. So whichever way you want to go. But with the Run Jesse Run T, it's got like a double entendre, and it says Run Jesse Run was the slogan for his presidential campaigns in 84 and 88. But then it also speaks to what transpired on April 4th of 1968 and the shady actions of Reverend Jesse Jackson, lying, saying he was a successor of King, number one, two, that he was the last person to speak to King, and that he cradled him in his arms, all which were lies. And so I outlined that through the people who were there. So Ralph Abernathy, Hosea Sanders, Chauncey Eskridge, Ben Branch, Andrew Young, who were all there and gave testimony to like, yo, Jesse was, pretty much on bullshit. And that's not to knock his accomplishments as a civil rights leader, but what type of man lies around the events surrounding one's death.
Yep.
So I discussed that. That's just kind of the tip of the iceberg with that T. But the NAACP called me about that T and told me to take it off, take it off my site. But me and Jesse, I've been kicked out of Operation Push. They had a Q&A with Jesse, like freshman year of college, Operation Push. They had a Q&A session. I asked Jesse, why did he leave Memphis on April 4th of 1968 when the deal was for everybody to stay after King got shot? He went and was on the Today Show, NBC, talking about I had the blood of King on my shirt. I cradled Dr. King, exactly, which is all a lie. So that's we can get deep into that. It's
that might be
I did the Obama tee in pink and green colorway, in the AKs, which is a Black women's Greek sorority organization. They told me to take all my tees. I had sold so many Obama tees, but because the colors were pink and green, they told me that I had to take the tee off my site and turn the tees into them. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll be up there tomorrow.
The AKAs?
The AKAs, yes. And the crazy thing, so when I did the Obama tee on my site, I set up a register to vote link, and 8% of the proceeds, it was small, but I was a brand just starting out, but 8% of the proceeds went to the Obama campaign. So 8% of all the proceeds of the sale went to the Obama campaign. I was dating an AKA at the time, and they were founded in 1908. So on top of that 8% proceeds that went to the Obama campaign, I also was going to donate 8% of the proceeds to Alpha Kappa Alpha, because Michelle Obama ended up being an honorary AKA. But the lawyer called after the shirts blew up. I probably sold 500-600 of them joints. Nice. They had like a underground joint called The Vine, and a lot of word spread on that. So it was just order after order after order. Anywhere their lawyers in DC caught wind of it, sent me a cease and desist letter. But like, what? You don't own the colors. You don't own the colors, salmon and green. So what? How are we? But you know, so needless to say, I told him I would turn the shirts in, but I didn't. So those are just some of the stories from a controversial standpoint that I received from the shirts. But it's been nothing too crazy. I mean, people have tried to steal the Rap Minus Lives with hip hop design. To date, I've sent out 24 cease and desist letters on that. People have stolen the Always Remembering design, the Fred Hampton joint. And so you have that, and the copycats disgust me. But there's also been some, the relationships and people I've been able to meet, you know, from the shirts, the Little Brothers of the world, the Lupe Fiascos, the Chance the Rappers, the Hebrew Brantleys, Robert Glasper. And then with the Always Remember shirt alone, I've developed friendships with Tiana Wallace, who's Biggie's daughter. I just sent her an order for the yellow version of these hoodies. Big Pun's kids, Freaky Ty's family, MC Breed's wife and daughter in Atlanta.
That's dope.
And Proof's son goes to school with MC Breed's son. And so, I'm sorry. Wait, is it Proof or Big? Either Big Pun's son or Proof's son goes to school with MC Breed's son. And I apologize for messing it up. I'd have to check the facts. But his wife, Natasha Breed, and daughter Lexi Breed met with them in Atlanta. You know, blessed them with the shirts. We did an interview, and her Tupac story is absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, I did an ode to the Juice T, met Khalil Kane, who was Raheem on Juice. And so again, it's been some people to come at me on the T. It's nothing too crazy, but I've developed some good relationships. I bought Khalil here for the 25th anniversary of Juice. We showed the film and, you know, sold the Bishop shirt there. You know, got all my old Juice paraphernalia signed, so forth and so on. So nice. It's been some real cool. And again, that's why I started the brand. Again, it wasn't for the money, just to put out the good vibes, both from a hip hop standpoint and rebellious standpoint. And fortunately, the people have felt it. But I'll be honest, and I'll say this to wrap this particular question answer up. The brand has suffered because of the tees that I've done, kind of dedicated to the more revolutionary aspect of society, because you have a certain segment of the population that are not going to buy that. I spoke with Joe from Joe Fresh Goods from Fat Tiger Works and DBM about this, because he has a lot of like Caucasians and Hispanics who support his brand. Whereas, you know, a joint where I'm talking about Emmett Till or MLK or Rosa Parks or Fred Hampton, they're not necessarily going to embrace. Definitely not from an economic standpoint. So the brand has suffered kind of in that aspect, as far as in my opinion, as far as elevating to an even higher level. But I kind of knew that going into it. So that's not to knock them, because obviously the consumer can buy what they want. But if I would have just focused on hip hop, then you know, it'd probably be a lot more successful, to be honest with you.
That's just because a lot of people don't like the truth. You know what I mean? That's why.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it.
Don't erase part of the history book.
I want to go back to the
put things up.
I want to go back to the creative process real. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I want to get back to the creative process a little bit, because so you're sketching your ideas in your book. You obviously more likely have it. Do you, for the actual design, do you have that idea in your head already, and you can kind of come to that visualization for the design pretty quickly, or does it take you a minute to kind of find the actual design that you want for what you're trying to say? How does
for some shirts, I definitely appreciate the question. For some shirts, no. For others, it's come up right away. Like with the Fife joint, excuse me, with the Fife joint, it came right away. With the trying to think something that it took me a while. I did a joint called Pigs Eat Donuts, which at the time all I could think of was I actually went to the meat packing district and bought a live pig's head, a severed pig's head, and a box of Dunkin' Donuts, and I actually did a photo shoot with those two, trying to figure out how do I want to show this on the shirt. And pigs speaks to, when I did the shirt, I dated a cop, and she was like, "Yo, what you mean by this?" And just pigs. So the term pigs came from like the Black Panther Party. They called police the pigs, and they kind of caught on, African American slang, so forth and so on. But pigs to me is not all police officers, because you have good police officers. Pigs just speaks to those corrupt cops. So, cops have, from a historical standpoint, cops and the donuts in the donut shop. So it's kind of pigs eat donuts, that concept. So I had the phraseology. I didn't have the concept from a design standpoint. And it took me a while. Sometimes it'll just come to me. But other times I kind of, look for inspiration in other ways. So that one did, that took a while. That took a while. Whereas I did so one of my homies is good friends with Andre Iguodala with the Golden State Warriors, and he wanted to do a Black History design. And I literally had to come up with it in 3 days. So there are times when you're under the gun. And so I came up with the phrase, Black history is golden. But that was Zoe from Foreign Exchange he remixed Jill Scott had the song Living My Life Like It's Golden, but he like redid that on this CD. And so I'm in the car living my life like it's golden, living my life is, I'm like, oh, Black history is golden, let's do that. And that ended up being the concept for their Black History campaign 2 years ago for the Golden State Warriors. Now, I didn't get credit for it or even payment for it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
The shirt said designed by AI, Andre Iguodala, but I'm like, yo, you could at least posted the shirt. But anyway, a lot of times you don't get credit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But to answer the question, sometimes it does take a while, though, to put it all together.
Any collaborations that you tried to make happen that you couldn't or didn't work out for any reason?
DJ Premier. I was doing Rock the Bells. The show it was the first Rock the Bells I did on the West Coast. It wasn't in LA, it wasn't in I want to say Pasadena. Because the next week was in New York. That's when Nas did the entire Illmatic album with everybody that was on the album.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. But the week before that, I think it was in Pasadena, DJ Premier came up to my booth and he was like, yo, that's the craziest shirt I've ever seen. You got a 4X. I'm like, yo, fam, a 4X? So now I just so happen to have a 4X because Big Pooh from Little Brother wore a 4X. So I gave him a 4X and I'm like, yo, Premier, I'd like to do a collab. So he was like, I'm cool, I'm with it. He gave me his numbers manager and his manager spent me off. Me and Chance were actually supposed to do something. Got spent off by the man. We were supposed to do something with Revenge and Mattel. And Pat sent me off. I'm gonna call him out. It is what it is. Sent me off. Now, here's the thing. With my collabs, every collab where I deal directly with the artist, I can get done. Lupe, I dealt directly with Lupe. Hebrew, I'm dealing with directly with Lupe. Robert Glasper, I dealt directly with Robert Glasper. Little Brother, I dealt directly with Fonte and Big Pooh. Their manager, Big Doe, actually tried to buy the Rap Minus Logic Hip Hop design. I won't tell you the price he gave me. It was actually insulting. Hope that doesn't get me in trouble with Little Brother. But when I deal with the artist, I can get it done. Once it goes to their manager, It's industry rule number 4080, or
we know about that.
What comments say these record companies? I don't like when I see them. My ancestors, when I'm writing, I see them and talk to them. Yeah, so I'd rather deal with the artist. So DJ Premier is a collab that didn't happen. The Chance the Rapper joint is a collab that didn't happen. Me and Biggie's daughter have been talking about, especially since she has a store in honor of her father. That's still something that I want to happen. I've always wanted to do something with Common, whether from a film aspect or from a clothing aspect. But I know so many people that know him. My barber cuts his hair, but I've just never been able to make that happen. But I would like to do something with him just because he's one of my more favorite artists.
Yeah, we've been trying to finally get Common in for Midway, and that's been it's been a challenge. He's given his blessing to his people of let's get this done, but yes, it gets caught up. And no, yeah, I was gonna say it yeah, and to be fair to Com, he's got a ton of stuff going on now between his his charitable work, his film work, his music. Like dude is so busy. But yes, yeah, things get caught up.
Did you say Lupe?
It shouldn't be. No, I was Common.
Have you guys interviewed Lupe?
No, not yet.
Okay. So well, I can definitely make that happen. But
cool.
Bet.
That's exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a phone call.
Word up. Is it that time for this or that?
This or that. This or that. This or that. This or that.
So this or that is the segment of our show where we just ask you this or that. I have a this or that, but I'm wondering if Ryan has one.
I'm still thinking of mine.
Okay, cool. So my this or that would be. Oh, you got one?
T-shirts or sneakers?
You said T-shirts or sneakers?
Yeah. T-shirts.
He like that's what made me give more sneakers.
We invest too much in the sneaker culture, much in the sneaker culture, and not enough in the arts. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we do. Here's my this or that. Public Enemy, Fight the Power, or Paris, the Devil Made Me Do It.
Ooh. Public Enemy, Fight the Power.
Word up.
Just from a musical composition standpoint, a historical standpoint, the video. There's certain videos I wish I could be in. Fight the Power was one of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments when kind of just like everything kind of came together. Like just all the elements came together just kind of at the right time and made like the perfect video, the perfect piece, the perfect that was. Yeah.
I always tell the story. I was in Germany in the army. That song used to come on. We used to be ready to fuck people up. Because I was on the basketball team too, and we'd be listening to joints like that all the way to wherever we had to go. Boy, we'd get off that bus just ready to. Someone was about to catch some hands, and we were just showing up to play basketball.
Yeah. Oh, the intro. Oh man, yeah. 1989, the number, another summer, sound of the funky drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just watching a BBC doc on Public Enemy today. That was beautiful, man.
And I gotta check that out. I don't think I ever saw that. So
yeah,
I was getting ready to say I didn't even know.
I saw it. I watched it on YouTube. I'll send you guys a link.
Yes, please,
that over.
Please do.
Please
do. I still I love the old school caricature style of the old like NBA championship shirts that you did a scenario. That's another one of my favorite pieces that you did.
I appreciate that. That's actually one of my favorite pieces. I mean that song. You talk about another song that just amplifies the spirit, man. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. When
So
I heard
I
Busta
like-
Rhymes first,
That's another
I
one.
saw Busta Rhymes and Q-Tip perform their parts of Scenario at the Knitting Factory in New York.
Oh,
I've never been to a more live besides that in Bucci Banton, Free Bucci Banton.
wow.
I think he gets out sometime this year. But yeah, goodness. Yeah, so that's if I had to rank top 3 of my favorite shirts that kind of like the process of making happen, that's one of my favorites.
Nice.
Yeah, that Scenario shirt. So I like that Scenario shirt so much. I bought it an extra size bigger because that was the only one left, and I still wear it, and it's big.
Hey, that's
That
called
shirt is bananas.
that's called future proofing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Q-Tip signed the joint. The good thing is, again, the people that you're able to meet and kind of give like the thumbs up on the shirt. But Phife saw the shirt, Tip saw it, loved it, signed it. Ali Shaheed Muhammad saw it as well. So
Nice.
So it was cool to kind of, receive that validation.
The approval, yeah.
And Dinko D saw the shirt. Dinko D's verse on Scenario and the Scenario remix was very underrated. But go ahead.
Agreed. I was trying to do that with because of the whole like the Juice stuff and the Bishop stuff. I was gonna do like a soundtrack, this or that, Juice or something else. But then like I'm going through like some of the classic hip hop soundtracks, and I don't know if there's anything that's even close to Juice.
Oh, see, people don't make good soundtracks anymore. What about Above the Rim?
Above the Rim was dope. Above the Rim was dope.
Menace to Society. Now, I'm not saying they were better than Juice.
Sure.
I'm trying to actually ask Khalil Kane why wasn't Tupac on the Juice soundtrack?
Good question.
Oh, wow. I said, yeah. And he was like, Pac was I thought that Pac would be upset that he wasn't on the Juice soundtrack because he told the story of when they were all in the back seat of a taxi. I'm like, how all y'all fit in the back seat of a taxi? But but I guess it was one person and 3 people in the back. But he said they were losing their mind to Rakim's "Know the Ledge" song. But I'm trying to think of the answer. He didn't say Pac was mad, but I can't. When I asked him, I can't remember the answer he gave me. But that's one of the questions I asked him. Why was Tupac not? Oh, they didn't feel he was a big enough artist at the time.
Wow.
Oh.
That's what they didn't feel he was a big enough artist at the time.
I mean, when they were making it, his Tupacalypse Now wouldn't have been quite out because I think both the Juice soundtrack and that album came out in '91. So
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't have been.
Pac was 19. Was he 19?
Look at
Pac
Hip
was
Hop
born in
Museum over
71.
here.
When they started, they actually filmed Juice, like 7 years before it came out? It was crazy.
Damn.
Or wait, some he was, yeah. So I got to get the, I definitely don't like to mess history up. But yeah, man, Khalil Kane's story about Pac, just phenomenal. He was a different soul. He was just on another type level, man. And as I think it was Shock G or somebody from Digital Underground said, he made music and he lived life as if he felt he wasn't going to be here that long. That's what Khalil said. He said he's never met anybody. He said at the time, Pac 19, because Khalil Kane was much older than everybody. Khalil Kane is like in the 50s, but
Yeah.
Khalil Kane was like, yo, even back then, Pac, it was almost like Pac, as the days went by, he just felt he had to do so much as if he wasn't gonna live that long. So that was crazy for him to even think that back at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Wow.
He definitely.
but we kind of got off subject. Menace to Society. New Jack City was a dope soundtrack. Boys in the Hood was okay.
Oh hell yeah! it was.
Friday, New Jersey Drive.
New Jersey Drive, the second CD.
Oh my God, New Jersey Drive. Benzer Beamer, Queen
Yeah.
Latifah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The Ill and Out scratches on that. Yes, see, that's back in the day.
Yeah.
The show, remember the show soundtrack?
Yep.
Yeah, even the marginal or the Sunset
Park,
High School High, Karis One had a banger. Yeah, it was
Soul in the Hole. Soul in the Hole was a dope. A dope soundtrack.
Yeah, I remember Soul in the Hole. Yeah.
Common had the point.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, hell, the Nutty Professor had some decent tracks on there. Yeah, so you know.
This is true. Anyway, man, that's kind of all I got. But no, man, we appreciate you coming on, man, and taking the time to do this, and you know, thank you.
No, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
No, man, I definitely appreciate the invite. I apologize for the technical difficulties. I imagine I look crazy, like on the screen, because I'm not, you know, I actually can't see you guys. So I'm kind of just talking to a blank screen with Gomez Creative Labs logo in the center. But
that's a good shout out. Thank you.
So I'm not sure how it's looking from a visual standpoint, but you know, it's definitely good to build with you guys. I'm glad we got a chance to talk. And man, yo, I've been looking forward to the Midway doc for a while. So
it's you and us both, man. That's all. Yeah. All I gotta say is that it's coming. It's a process. There's still some interviews left, including yours. So we actually should build here after the show and get something locked down. But yeah, if people want to check out you and your work and everything else, where can they go to see and learn more about you?
All right, sure. So the name of the brand is Enstrumental. That's Instrumental with replace the I with the E. So ENSTRU Mental, ENSTRUMENTAL. The website is instra-mental.com. So that's ENSTRU-mental.com. Type that into your URL. I just released a collection of teas that I had collected going back like the old Yay and Good Music and Common Joints from like 03, 04, 05, all the way up until now. So I just released that on the site called From the Vaults. Most of it has already sold out, but the Merrill Washington hat is on there. Also the remix to past instrumental releases and the Lupe joint from 10 years ago is on there. And it's like over 100 pieces of vinyl on there as well. So I did a pop-up shop for that 2 weeks ago, but the website for that is fromthevaults.instra-mental.com. So the regular website is instra-mental.com. And the From the Vaults website is fromthevaults.instra-mental.com. I wanted to set up two separate sites, so one site just didn't have, you know, a plethora or you know, just too much information on the site. But if you forget that, you can go to my social media, whether Facebook or Twitter, or even more so Instagram, because I post a lot more on Instagram, and you can look at the link in my bio, and you can, you know, get the information for both sites. So definitely, you know, whether you want to follow, definitely welcome you for that. I post fairly regular. And so you'll receive updates on the products via the posting, or if you just want to go directly to the site, browse around, you see something you like, you know, all orders are shipped out within 24 to 48 hours. But if not, you know, I appreciate you going on there and you know, shoot me feedback on, you know, a product that you like or two. You know, I every now and then do free giveaways. So that's the information for the brand.
Nice.
Dope. Sean Doe.
Thank you, sir.
If you want to find me, you can find me at DJ
Hello?
SEAN.
Yo.
Hold on for 1 second. Hello? Yo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So if you want to find DJ Sean Doe, you can find him at DJ SEANDOE on the Instagrams and Twitters, and you can go to my name, Rasan Sean Doe Hawkins on Facebook.
Dope. Carlos.
You can find me at coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else. I post regularly too. So tomorrow I will be posting this. Boom!
Somebody's got a character. That's dope.
That's dope.
I'll be sending that over to Drew because as a thank you for coming on the show, it's what we do. It's a little bit of something that we do. And it's okay that you don't see it. We'll show it to you later.
Cool. And you can find me Twitter, Instagram, 278 Media. The number's 278 and Media. And Midway, of course, is Midway Doc across the board. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. MidwayDoc.com. Check it out. And once again, Enstrumental, thank you very much for taking the time and giving us some stories and putting up with our silliness.
Again, I apologize for. I kind of feel responsible for the technical difficulties or hang-ups, so I definitely apologize for that. But no, I'm grateful, gracious to be on the show. Obviously, I know the homie Sean, so it's good to meet you guys as well. And again, like straight up, and I told Sean this, I'm interested in the Midway Doctor story of Chicago hip hop. So man, did you guys have an anticipated date on that, or?
Hopefully this time next year. Hopefully we're about a year away.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, man, I'm whenever you guys are ready for the interview, I'll be available. So just let me know. But I'm definitely humbled and appreciative for you guys reaching out and allowing me on the show to share a bit of perspective. Kind of ramble a bit, but I just trying to get
nope.
Your rambles get all of the information in.
Your rambles are so full of information. Your rambles aren't even rambles. There's more, more preaching to the rambles than you
Sometimes
think.
I'm like, yo, how do I fit 10+ years into 3 minutes? So, but
right,
yeah,
cool.
All right, that's it for us, everybody. Go to midwaydoc.com, midwayradio.com. Follow us on the social medias. That's it for us, everybody.
Okay.
Later.
All right.